What's up, everybody? It's Make It Make Sense, and Jim Townsend, who just happens to be Marjorie Harvey's ex-husband, who is, as you all know, Steve Harvey's wife, is telling all, and we got to talk about it because I have all the details. Like the video as my intro plays because we got a lot to get into.
Make it make sense. Could somebody please make it make sense?
Big moves. Surfer. Make it make sense. Tell me how you squeeze it. Make it make sense. Tell me about the things that you see. Make it make sense. Tell me about the things of your dream. Hey, let me work out all the things in between. Make it make sense. Tell me how you squeeze it. Make it make sense. Tell me about the things that you see. Make it make sense. Tell me about the things of your dream. Hey, let me work out all the things in between. Make it make sense.
She lied, and I should have known better when I seen her hair.
I gotta feel you.
Okay, guys, so this has been crazy. Ever since Jimmy got out of jail, he's done certain interviews, but he's never been as direct as he has been recently. And I have watched all the interviews. More recently, he did one with Tasha K. Definitely go check that out. She has it on her app. He did an interview with Thaddeus, the cussing pastor. Definitely check that out as well. But certain things on the interview, y'all know how we do around here. I just got to tell it like it is.
So a straight shooter, pow pow.
And sometimes I question the motives of why he's choosing to do this. Now we'll get into why he says it, but for the most part, when I watched the Tasha interview, I thought, okay, there could be some semblance for reconciliation. After I watched the Thaddeus interview, I said, nope. He is really calling this woman all the way out. So I want to start with when they met. He met Marjorie when she was just 18 years old. He actually was married at the time. Marjorie did not know initially. He was already a kingpin. He had one of the biggest drug dealing syndicates from Memphis to Chicago. She was 18. He was 14 years her senior. When she found out about the wife, she did choose to stay. He alleges that she took herself off the pill and got pregnant. So he then decides to leave his wife and be with Marjorie, which he then says is one of his biggest mistakes because that wife eventually developed a habit and came to an early demise. So he says he regrets ever getting with Marjorie. They had a daughter named Morgan. He also had children with his previous spouse. So he was, laying it low and spreading wide. Here's the thing, because he says that he never wanted her to get into, the game. He tells Tasha that, he might have heard some things, but he wasn't sure. But he also says this, which kind of hurts his credibility. Let me put that back up.
She was. What role did Mom?
That's when it comes to drugs.
Okay.
It's not about glorifying.
Jimmy, was Marjorie in the drug game?
Yes, she was.
He says yes, she was. Now that's very different than what I've been hearing.
What role did Marjorie Harvey play in the drug game here in the streets of Memphis?
She was like a lieutenant to me, you could say.
He called her his right hand. So that's why I'm like, if I ever interviewed him, we would really need to drill down on that. Like what changed from interview to interview? Or was he just trying to do more of a rollout where he gave little tidbits to certain people, but now that maybe his book is, picking up some traction, he's going to start saying more. I don't know, but these are all his allegations. And we've not heard any of this from Marjorie. Technically, people can say what they want about Marjorie, but instead of think like a man, it should have been think like Marjorie. Because out of all these things that people have been saying about her, the gold diggers, the this, that, the drugs, jump off, all these things, this woman is living her best life at the end of the day. All these other people that went to jail, not Marjorie. So, think like a Marjorie. Mimsism for the day. But anyway, let's get back to it. So eventually she gets pregnant again, and that's when the feds come in and bust him. And he alleges that it was a either her or me. They said they had something on her. She was 5 months pregnant. So he said that he would go ahead and take the rap for everything. But I don't know that I even like that because you were the kingpin. Whether they utilized her or not, you were the one. Like it was your thing. You were the head. So whether she participated in not, you know, we can't make it out to be that this woman was the catalyst for everything. Just saying. So Marjorie, everybody wants to know, well, how did she have money afterwards? Well, this I did not know. He says that he left her a duplex, a 16 unit apartment building, and a club. The club eventually got seized because he had gave her like $15,000 towards decorating it. But in my opinion, that club was like washing money. You have all this illegitimate money. What's the best way to wash it? Legitimize it in a business that is not connected to your name. I watched, I watched Claws. I know how to wash money. Anyway, so she has this club. It gets seized. The allegation goes now. The first time that I heard about this allegation before this interview was an earlier interview where he kind of touched on it, or he said that she used this basketball player named Todd Day to get her club back. Now, I saw an article from 2011 where people said that she was his jump off. Jim says specifically that he feels as though she just utilized his connections with the city to get it back. The allegation was that he actually paid to get the club back for her. So she has an apartment complex. She has this club, and she's doing okay. Now this is where some of the stuff kind of gets a little. There was a rumor that I cleared up in this video. Or again, check this video out. It will be at the end. It will be linked at the end of this video. It goes through the whole timeline, all the affairs, everything. But one of the big scandals was that she had a baby by two cousins. That's not true. Even Jim says she did have a baby by one of the cousins. His name was Donnell, who happens to be Lori's father. However, she also dated his other cousin, but this is of no relation to Jim, and she did not have a baby by the other cousin. So that clears up that rumor, because that was a pretty bad rumor. But again, check out my timeline video. You'll get all that information. So she then moves on to, date another large kingpin, Donnell. Donnell goes to jail. I think they were married a year. She goes ahead and divorces him. So here's where things get a little tricky, because again, he was very vague, but I want you to hear what he had to say in relation to her going to jail. I thought this was pretty interesting.
Prove it.
Okay.
You see. So yeah, that's
So she should be forever grateful to you that she didn't go to prison.
oh yeah, from that perspective, yeah.
Okay.
I think that when you're a kingpin, your time will eventually come. I don't think that Marjorie has to be forever grateful that you did not send your pregnant wife to prison. I don't know how I feel about that. I mean, people say a lot of things about Marjorie, but at the end of the day, she still held him down for a very long time after she did not have to. And again, she was 18-year-old. Like, she was the impressionable one. I don't know. Some people don't like her. Some people say all those things are true about her. As it pertained to her being a gold digger, let me let you hear exactly what he had to say, and then we'll discuss.
Now whether it's the truth or not, I don't know. But I know later on in the years, when I got out of prison, I talked to Jason about it. And he told me that wasn't his doing. That wasn't stuff. So
Let me ask you this question. When you were dealing drugs, you were in the money. Donnell was in the money. Steve Harvey is in the money. Would you consider Marjorie a gold digger?
Me?
Yeah.
What I consider, I thought my take on it.
Uh,
Yeah.
I don't like that. And here's why. You met an 18-year-old. He even told the story of Marjorie going shopping. He gave her $10,000 and she came back with seven. This was in the 80s. And he was like, you didn't spend enough money. 18-year-olds are impressionable. And if she's coming up seeing fast money and things like that, I don't know that she's a gold digger as much as you shaped her into that. Like, you guys can put in the comments, maybe I'm wrong, but if you were giving this girl $10,000, telling her go shopping, spend all of the 10,000, it's very fast money. She knows that you're doing stuff illegal. That kind of shapes the way a person thinks and relates to money. Like, come on. If I interviewed him, we really have to have like some deep interpersonal conversations about accountability, because I think in some of the things he's saying, it's missing. Not saying that Marjorie allegedly is a saint, but when you're dealing with somebody who's 14 years older than you, they are kind of in a way shaping the way that you view the world. So I don't know if I like that. What else? He said this about Steve and the children. Now, I think that Steve came out and did this interview at Club Shay Shay because he knew that Jim was coming out with this book, and he knew that Jim had started doing all these interviews. And even one thing that he said, Jim has always maintained that when Steve told Jim's son, "I'm not your daddy, and where's your punk ass daddy now?" that really offended him because he didn't know him and didn't like to be called a punk ass. Well, when your boy Steve did interview with Shannon Sharp, he actually relayed that story and said, I ain't taking it back. Additionally, I told y'all I gave you guys the full timeline. Additionally, Steve also said that he started dating Marjorie in the 80s, which would mean that not only was Steve married, but Marjorie was married to Jim. So it's kind of like thumping your nose at this man, in my opinion. Steve doesn't really do a lot of interviews. So for him to give all these extra details, to me, I think it was a counteractive strike before these interviews started rolling out from Jim. Just my opinion. But Jim is not holding back. He feels as though a lot of the stuff that Steve and Marjorie represent is fake. And let me let you hear what he had to say.
She had no reason to.
but you do believe she's a gold digger.
I believe that.
And she's finally found her
But
a
she's a
deep
player.
mind.
But now she's a player now.
She's a player.
She learned. She learned.
She know the game.
She know the game. She was with a player.
That is really gets it out of him. You definitely got to check out that Aces video.
So
Do you think the name change with the children was part of the game?
Yeah, I told you that. I think they was. You called it right. The Brady Bunch. They was portraying this. And Morgan. She told me it was all facade. It was all what you saying. And I think a lot of.
So a lot of people asked about why all of the children got Steve Harvey's name. There's a lot of speculation that the Steve Harvey's original children who did not feel they had a father in their life, now all of a sudden that Lori's around and all of these new children, you absolutely love them. There's even a clip of Steve saying he sat all the children down and said, I know y'all don't like it, but I don't care. Y'all do with that. You can put in the comments how you feel about that. But another thing that he cleared up was the pardon thing. A lot of people were like, why is this man even saying anything when Steve and his wife got him pardoned? But he was very clear that that's not the case. Let me let you hear what he had to say regarding if Steve and Marjorie played a role in him getting pardoned.
Steve Harvey did have a chance, a beautiful chance of getting me pardoned.
Okay.
Or clemency, rather.
Okay.
Because he was very close to Obama.
Okay.
I asked my daughter, which is Morgan. I asked Morgan, I said, Morgan, listen, they're doing clemencies now. And I'm in a good position because of your stepdad to, get me clemency.
Mm-hmm.
He can make it happen. Because it was making other inmates happen. I know for a fact.
Okay.
Now, I don't know if it's fair to ask your child to ask their new parent to help you when you've never had a conversation. I think the appropriate thing would have been, can I speak to your stepfather? Or can we, me, Marjorie, and your stepfather talk to kind of help me out? I don't know if asking the child to do that, even though she may not have been a child, you know what I mean? I don't know if I like that.
I had a friend that had a life sentence just like me. He was put in for clemency. The governor of the state, just so happened, he had somebody that was real close to the governor of the state.
Point being, he said that Morgan said no. That Steve wouldn't do it. And again, I don't know if that is appropriate. I don't know. Y'all, there was so much more. It's juicy, it's meaty. I will go live about this week. In addition, the one lady who has the actual book of Steve's alleged mistress has said if we want to talk to her and do a live with her, she'll give like the details. She says that we could do that. Her name is Geneva. So let me know in the comments if you are interested in that. I did see a lot of you said that you were from my timeline video. So it just means I have to reach back out to her. We had a really nice conversation. She's willing to do that. Check out the Secrets and Affairs complete timeline and a video I did on Brian McKnight where he said some really creepy things about his daughter dating one of her cousins allegedly. I didn't like it at all. We got a lot going on. I will see you guys later. Thank you so much for spending your time with me, and like the video on your way out. Have a good one.